So, did everyone watch Gentlemen Broncos?
We have a new guest.
We do have a new guest. We have a new guest for this episode on the Jared Hess film Gentlemen Broncos. It is the author of the dystopian science fiction novel The Seclusion, and there's also a sequel in the works. I like it a lot. I've read it. I think it's great. Jacqui, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yay!
Yay! My name's Jacqui Castle. My first novel, The Seclusion, came out in September 2018. It's a dystopian science fiction novel that takes place in a future America in the year 2090. And it was just named the winner of the North Carolina Author Project, put on by Library Journal and Biblioboard, and is also a Forward Indies winner. So that's all very exciting. And the sequel comes out hopefully the end of this year or next. It's in production with the publisher right now. And hope you guys will check it out. And I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Yay. Dang,
you also have
really
a podcast,
cool.
right?
I do have a podcast. Well, not just mine, but I'm a member of an indie writing group. There's 6 of us. And we have a podcast that's called Writing Block, without the K at the end. We've got a website, a podcast, some social media groups. But we just kind of chat everything indie authorhood and publishing. The good, the bad, the frustrating, all of that. Just a lot of honesty and humor. So hope you'll check that out as well. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. If you listened to our Christmas special, this is kind of another one of those that, like we did with the Santa Claus 3, this will just be a one-shot episode, and we're not going to roleplay anything. We're just gonna do I know. Well, you can if you want, but we don't have
I'll roleplay as myself.
Yeah, we don't have a game. There's no game.
Oh, can we make one up on the fly?
Yes,
we can. We will.
But it is entirely improv. But so I think we didn't really name this thing last time, and I think in the intermediary we've come up with writer's room, that it's the writer's room, but writers is like RIGHT. Does that work?
Because we're writing things, like correcting them.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
I still think it's pretentious, but I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I've been trying to duck around the pretension on this podcast for a year, and it doesn't work.
No, it does not.
Listen, our whole purpose is to take these terrible movies and make them better because we are better than the creators of these movies.
Wow.
What's pretentious about that?
Wow.
That's not pretentious at all.
Jacqui, get a seatbelt on, because
I'm just kidding.
that just floored the rest of us.
No, I'm ready.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
That
ready.
was all a joke.
One could argue that podcasting in itself is already pretentious, so I think we're all in it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, yeah,
I
that's
guess you're
fair.
right,
Yeah.
Just lean into it.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be interesting to have Jacqui on, because this movie is about it's about kids writing books, and I just thought that having someone who has been through this machine of like getting a book on the shelves would be a very good perspective. So I'm interested to know, just like in general, what did you guys think of this movie?
Do you want me to start? I can start, I suppose.
Yeah, Jacqui.
So
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go last.
I felt like it had so much potential, but it just kept falling flat. I've been to science fiction conferences before, and there is so much material there that they could have really built on. And so I'm really excited to just kind of do the writer's room thing at the end and talk about what we would do differently. And then just knowing that it was from the creator of Napoleon Dynamite, I think you probably do go into it expecting a lot more. I didn't really connect with any of the characters. I wasn't really sure what the main character Benjamin was even thinking or feeling half of the time. But then there were some really great scenes where I was, laughing incredibly loud and thought they were hilarious. And then it was just kind of, 20 to 30 minutes of, okay, getting back into it. So, yeah, those were my initial takes.
We lost it pretty good at the end, near the climax, when the guy's got the bowl of bullets on his table in his living room.
Oh man, just the flower bowl of just bullet casings and shit.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, and I think my favorite scene was the naming, the class where they're naming the fantasy characters, because that was
Traginus.
That was funny, and very relatable. And I just wish they'd steered into that skit a little more of some of the, science fiction conferences. They're so much fun and they're inspiring, and they're full of so many characters that I just wish they'd kind of steered into that a little more and made that a larger part of the movie.
Yeah, like the first 10 minutes of this movie are like, you're filled with hope, right? Like that intro's so good when it's got all those like 50s, 60s, 70s, like science fiction paperback novels. And like, I would have loved that aesthetic explored in this like quirky Napoleon Dynamite style like character study. That would have been great. Right. And they didn't do that.
Before we get too far afield, I just have to ask Jacqui, how many of your characters have you added an anus to?
Well, mine is kind of purely like, real world science fiction. It doesn't take place in a fantasy world, which, I guess they call that first world versus second world. So one is like a world that's extrapolated from current events and what's our reality, and others are, pretend planets and something else has gone different. So
maybe like two anuses.
So maybe just two.
So just the one regular anus for every character.
Oh, okay. Just one anus.
Yeah, no, my character names are pretty boring after watching that.
I don't, Jacqui, this is going to sound like I'm calling you out, and I'm not.
Call me out.
Oh my God, Ben, stop.
Because I love this character, but you do have a character named Rex with 2 X's.
I do. That's true. Maybe I'll change it to...
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I'm saying like...
Rexus.
Yeah.
That's a very good sci-fi name.
Rexanius. I wasn't bold enough. I'm regretting it. I'm regretting all my life choices.
You'll get there.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's like but you're
coming
right,
from
like
someone who's written nothing. You'll get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everyone else is looking at name as like Patricia and Oliver, and then here's this one cool dude named Rex, and he rules.
He did pretty much rule, and I tried to be a little more bold with the characters that were young in that book. Whereas like there was this group of elder characters who were supposed to be born around our time right now. The book takes place like 7 years in the future, and I honestly, for all of them, Ben, you'll laugh at this because it's very obvious once I say it. I literally looked at the top 5 baby names for the year I was writing the book.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Nice. They're supposed to be, born right around there.
I think that's a really good idea. Yeah.
No, I've been to that rodeo. Can I? Oh, speaking of having been to this rodeo, can I say it was really weird to watch this movie and like watch this movie about a like awkward teenager named Benjamin taking his printed out book stuck in a binder around to like young author conferences. Like this gave me some like flashback whiplash real bad.
Have you done that? Have you presented your work at a public event like that?
I didn't do it when I was a teenager. But like I definitely used to go to this thing called the like Young Authors Conference when I was in like elementary school.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Nerd.
That's perfect. Oh yeah, reading is for nerds and ladies, according to Alex.
Hey, not Alex, that character that I was embodying in that one show. I read extensively. Thank you very much. I am a nerd. It's okay.
What do you guys think of this, like, the weird, like, side plot of, them, like, shooting the movie that was, like, based on his work, and they gave him, like, the post-dated check?
I actually...
Should we hear what the rest of us think of the movie before we get into specifics?
Yeah, we didn't even, like, we only heard Jacqui's perspective.
It's the only one that matters.
It is.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's true, but
Jency,
but I would like to pretend like our perspective matters. Okay, I will go. So I loved Napoleon Dynamite when I was a kid. Loved Napoleon Dynamite. And I really, really, really loved Flight of the Conchords. So I was already really familiar with Jermaine Clement. So going into this movie, I was like, this movie is going to be the best movie. And then I watched it, and I remember it was the worst thing I had ever watched. So I hadn't watched it since it came out until we all sat on Ben's couch and watched it again. And watching it again, there were actually some funny parts, and I did like the mom a lot. I thought she was great. But
Jennifer Coolidge is a treasure.
yeah, Jennifer Coolidge. But yeah, like Jackie said, first of all, I had no idea what Benjamin was thinking ever. He was flat the whole time, and it was gross. It was unnecessarily gross.
Why was it so gross?
There was so much about that movie that I was like, ugh, this is too gross. I can't watch this.
I mean,
like, why?
If you think about the time period, Hollywood was just coming off of that gross comedy shtick. It was it hit very late in that whole vein where that kind of comedy was really popular. And I think this was like the beginning of that dying out.
I feel like it can be done well.
I mean, it has been done well in the past, and this one was not done well.
I felt, to me, a lot of like the movies where the gross is played up and it's done well is because you're watching the character's reaction to what is happening. And here we were presented with characters that had absolutely no reaction to what was happening. And so it was a little awkward.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Unnecessarily gross. And I don't know. I didn't like any of the characters except the mom. I didn't care about any of them. The only time where I was like, yeah, was when Benjamin had that whole, you know what, I'm going to stand up for my mom and shoot this guy with poop darts. Like, that was fun. But, I mean, even then, I was just like, I don't even really care so much that he got the courage to shoot this guy with poop darts. Like, I was just, oh my God. And the whole thing with him and that girl, I was like, I hate this so much. And I hated their really, really, really gross vomit kiss. There was so much about this movie that I hated. I'm sorry.
Jincy, like, actually shielded their eyes during that part.
I almost threw up. I almost legitimately threw up during that part. I could not watch it.
I shielded my eyes during that skin pouch thing.
Oh my
God! Oh God, the skin pouch. See, like, why? It had no right. It had no reason to be that gross.
I know what you're talking about, Jackie. With the like, no one reacts. Like the snake pooping is like, I'm definitely thinking of that. Where like the joke is that they almost don't register the snake poops on them, but I'm not sure that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but see, on the other hand, though, the part where Jennifer Coolidge gets shot by the dart and just screams, it's so good.
That was so good. Her screaming, and it didn't even really get her boob. It was just her silicone insert, and it was great.
I really hope our listeners have watched this movie and are just completely confused about all the weird shit we're talking about.
But anyway, in my opinion, I couldn't relate to the characters. I didn't like any of them. The plot was weird, and it was unnecessarily gross. Ben, it's your turn.
Yeah, go
because Alex
for it,
wants to go last.
Oh, I've been talking a lot though. It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like I'm kind of Jincy really said a lot of my thoughts that I went through the same thing Jincy did, where I was so pumped for this movie. I kept reading like everything about it, and I remember hearing that they like filmed a bunch of other scenes with Jermaine Clement because like he was really stealing the show and they wanted to have him in there, except that like he was terrible. I feel so evil saying that about Jermaine Clement, but to be fair, he had nothing to work with.
I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think he was great. He did use his David Bowie voice, though, and I liked that.
Yeah, saying he's terrible was a little mean, but he definitely, like, chewed scenery.
He wasn't great. Yeah, he wasn't great.
All right, Alex. What are these thoughts you've held back?
So, well, I loved it.
Oh, no.
No.
I loved it with an asterisk in it. I got where it was taking me. It was just a lot of funny stuff in this movie. The gross out stuff, I think if we just took that out, I think it would have been a lot better. There's just like a few minor tweaks I would have made to this movie, but Honestly, I liked where it was taking me, and there was just a lot of like when the whole time Jermaine's character has this earpiece, and he refuses to use it. He's always using a landline telephone or
his razor.
It's so great.
Yeah, that was funny. You're right. There were cute little details in it that really added to it. You're right. The little things were nice.
And I guess that was just enough for me personally. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
I really wish that Jermaine had been developed a little more as a villain. I think I would have liked it if they battled a little more.
I never really saw him as being a villain, though. Just kind of a jerk.
That's what I'm saying. He should have been more of a villain.
You know who the real villain was?
Poverty.
The dude making the indie film.
Yeah. I would have liked to see a little bit more
Lonnie.
resolution with that whole bit.
I wish they just set Benjamin up a little more, because they want you to think that he's kind of this intelligent guy, but then he gets totally bamboozled, and it was kind of unbelievable to me that like he knows the industry enough to have this passionate speech when he's watching this book reading about how his rights are being infringed on and his work is being, that is, misrepresented, but then he just kind of like gives the rights to his movie to these two randos.
Right?
It was kind of interesting to me. So I still wasn't quite sure. I never felt like I got a good read on who the character of Benjamin was.
I kind of viewed that as part of it, just because, Benjamin is a smart character, or he's supposed to be smart, but he's also just a dumb kid with no experience in any of it. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'll freely admit, I got taken advantage of a lot when I was a kid. For a lot of stupid things. I spent a whole lot of money on Pokemon cards I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You mean the ultra super duper rare ones that are definitely worth this amount of money?
Nope. Nope, like regular old common cards I spent, like, too much money on.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that.
Well, we all got duped by things. It just felt, it felt a little, I don't know, it felt a little bit past that for me. The other thing that I wish was that we'd seen him writing a little more. Like he'd written all that work, but it wasn't really part of his character arc. Or,
that's true. That's
I don't think we saw him writing at all.
Yeah, like even when he was working on the manuscript, all he was doing was drawing an eye patch on that picture of a deer. He wasn't even writing. We didn't even see him write it.
He did write the title on there.
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
Okay, but one thing, and this is really nitpicky, but I noticed it in the very beginning, was who was the girl for the indie film company? What was her character's name?
I honestly do not remember.
I don't remember
Anyway, she
either.
picks up his manuscript and she opens it and she's looking at the middle of his manuscript and she starts the story.
Yes.
And then later someone picks it up and opens the first page and then it continues the story. For some reason,
Yep. I had that exact same thought.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, as soon as she opened it, I was like, yeah, just start in the middle. And then later on, they started at the beginning, and I was like, what is this?
Okay. To be fair, though, if you are a writer who's looking at somebody else's... No, like, the first part I don't have a problem with. Because if you're a writer and someone else is like, hey, I have a manuscript, and you're like, I'd like to look at it, I've definitely cracked open the middle before.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't the part that bothered me. I would read the middle just to get a sense of a middle scene. It was more that they then continued to the part she had read when the next person opened it to the beginning.
Yeah. Maybe he has like a broken narrative like Pulp Fiction.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's giving him too much credit, Benjamin.
I also really was craving to know what inspired Yeast Lords. I don't think we got that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I have a thing. I have a thing about that later though. That's on my writer's room part.
I think it was just what's gross that we can talk about. Yeast. Let's talk about yeast.
Yeah.
But why is he interested in yeast?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to know how Jared Hess came up with it. I want to know how
Benjamin came up with it.
Yeah.
Where'd the passion for yeast come from?
Maybe from his dad. I don't know. They don't explain it.
Yeah, that's my big retcon. That's one of my retcons.
Should we go ahead and move into the retcon?
It seems like we're all kind of been doing that since the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
We're circling it.
Ooh, this is gonna be a short one then. Okay. I don't know. Right. I think then we maybe all have the same note here. I don't have like huge ones like I did for the
Santa Claus?
For the Santa Claus 3, thank you, Alex. But like if this was for his dad, like it was for his dad, right? He was like, I want to write a science fiction book for my dad, but that was like never explored at all. Who was his dad? Why did he want to write a science fiction book for him?
He was a park ranger some sort of like
He had a Bowie knife,
park
for
ranger,
sure.
but a forest person who died on the job. He was killed by some sort of animal. I don't remember which one, but they do explain
Did you
it
gather
a little
that?
bit.
I completely missed that then.
Yeah, it was in the movie.
I was there. It was a little bit in the movie, yes, but not
To like any
fleshed
great
out.
extent, no. But it was there.
Did they say that his dad loved science fiction?
No, I didn't get any of that.
Okay.
I don't remember. Probably not.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the biggest things that came to me was I just thought the first 10 minutes was the best part of the movie. And so I would have had that last much longer. I would have had it be like a bigger science fiction conference with a lot more awkward moments, maybe some panels. The one thing that stuck out to me was that, this guy was his icon, this author who shows up, and then he's already lost faith in him just by sitting through like one class with him, which felt a little, if this is like the person you've admired, I felt like there should have been a little more of that. So what I would have done, the biggest thing I would have done is I would have had the science fiction conference and I would have made that half of the movie. And then I would have had him confront him with the book he stole as he's presenting it at next year's science fiction conference.
That would have been good.
So I kind of wrap it around a little bit and just have more of the quirky, and I just also wanted to see them having some fun. Because I think that's what some of these people relate to too is, science fiction conferences are a lot of fun and it's got to like kind of be that juxtaposition of like the super fun and the super awkward, bouncing back and forth. And so that's probably where I would have put my efforts.
I
like
agree with
that.
that.
Yeah.
With the conference though, was it a science fiction conference or was it like I thought it was like a homeschool writers conference.
I don't know, but all the parts they showed of what they were physically doing, there was either fantasy or science fiction. But you're right, it may have just been a writing conference.
I think it was just a writing conference because they had like they said that Jermaine Clement's character was the science fiction sect of that particular thing.
Yeah, because that one girl, she really liked writing romance novels.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, I guess either way, still, just kind of, there was obviously science fiction and fantasy classes.
It could have been better.
And then I would have put Clement's character just in front of people for more of the movie. I thought that were the best moments for him. And then like he's in these, teaching that hilarious naming workshop. And then the rest of the movie, he's like in a hotel room talking to himself. And so I thought that was a big missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Was seeing,
I bet they filmed all of that in one go, and then we're just like, okay, here you go, Jermaine, because he's a busy dude.
Yeah,
that was a waste opportunity, though.
I think I still did like. I liked how the resolution happened. That the mom had been like registering, like copywriting the stories.
Yeah, that was nice
because.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like a reminder of another missed opportunity where like the focus of the movie should have been about how they like believed in each other, and then like they kind of got there at the end though because they like made that the resolution of the plot is that the mom had always believed in him. She was the best part of the movie, right? I mean, like I know we've said that, but
and I think that's why the movie was kind of frustrating for me was I felt like it was so close. Like it was like they had all the makings of what could have been a great story. I just felt like they missed the mark a lot. Like they didn't set up his passion for writing at all. So when she presents him with like these 20 manuscripts he's written, you're left being like, well, yeah, I haven't heard about any other stories except for this one. And so yeah, that was interesting to me.
I remember while we were watching it, Jency, you said this movie is trying too hard. And
Yes, I did
think
say
you
that.
really nailed it. Like, it had everything it needed there, and it didn't do it.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you take like those super quirky characters, like they need someone who is not a character like that to play off of, and I think that was missing a little bit too.
They might have tried to do that with Benjamin, but it just fell flat.
Yeah. Yeah, he just let everything wash over him. Things just happened to him.
I guess I get that because they're wanting to show the arc of his character. They wanted to make him dynamic, and so they were like, okay, he was really a big pushover at the beginning, and then at the end he finds his courage and his assertiveness or whatever, but I didn't think that it was him being a pushover. I thought that it was him being dead inside.
Yeah.
And I would like to see them just play more into fandom a little bit, like show how obsessed Benjamin was with this author that he admired. I think that would have made the arc of the story that much more, meaningful.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if it's his passion, and if this is his favorite author, which they said so many times, even his mom was just like, oh my god, it's your favorite author. I agree. I think they could have really played that up a lot more.
Yeah, he didn't really have much of a connection with Jermaine's character at all. Like, he gets really excited to see him during that first speech, and then he gets into the class with him, and he's like, I don't know, I don't like this guy anymore. He's kind of a jerk. And that's like the end of their, like, his starstruck relationship with him.
Yeah, and I think you have to play that the way that messes with your mind up a little more. Like, that's, if you've admired someone that long and resonated with them, you're not going to just immediately, or it's going to take a little bit of self-convincing at least.
Right.
But I did think that scene was very funny. Like, when he was watching him speak and he was turning around and like looking at other people's reactions, that was pretty genuine. I liked that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one thing, the weird like salute that Jermaine does.
Oh, that was funny.
We've been
doing
so
that
long
for a week.
doing that after the movie.
that one stuck with us. We like that one. We took it.
So that was the
Yeah.
one thing, and I kept watching that. I was like, that's why we loved Napoleon Dynamite. It had these just like these lines that you grabbed and were, they stuck with you for a decade. And I didn't feel like there was any of that there. But the salute maybe was the thing. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Like, that is one of the really good things about Napoleon Dynamite. You can quote Napoleon Dynamite for days. I don't remember a single dang quote from Gentlemen Broncos, except that I don't even remember what he said during the salute.
No.
It was some
Make yourself a dang
gibberish.
quesadilla.
It was.
I will say I absolutely loved Jermaine's character's art for his books, especially the one he ends up going with the harpy that's got his own face.
His own face?
I want that on a t-shirt. So
They
bad.
had the visuals
Yeah.
down.
They did.
Gross out stuff aside.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
opening,
Their
opening
weird
scene was
house
awesome.
was so good. That six-wheeled vehicle that he like rides around in, it's so good. I'm a big believer of give your character an interesting vehicle if they need to travel a lot in your story.
Yeah, I wish I don't remember what they called him. He was there to like be friends with Benjamin. What was the snake guy?
His guardian.
The
And I feel like
Angel,
he was,
guardian
he was
angel.
trying to be like an Uncle Rico type character, and that
A
just
little
missed
bit,
the mark a lot
yeah.
too, I felt.
They just didn't give him a lot to do.
Yeah.
He was there with the snake, and then the bad blow dart gun with the
Yeah, like,
wanting to
why was
shoot
he
the
trying to get Benjamin to murder his cat?
That was weird, right? And then later they were like, "Oh, but he's not a bad guy," and I was like, "He is a bad guy. He murders cats.
He's a cat murderer.
I don't like him."
He's pretty bad. So Ben, do you have any other retcon ideas rattling up in that old brain pan of yours?
No. I had like how many? I had like 8 for the Santa Claus 3, but this one, God, my retcon is just do better.
It was just
Just do
bad,
better.
yeah.
One thing I said during the movie was that it was super self-indulgent, but I've like chewed on it a little bit, and now I think they could have stood to be more self-indulgent.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what Napoleon Dynamite was. It was just Jared Hess making a movie about a thing he really wanted to make a movie about. And, like, it has, like, no plot, but it's such a great character study. And, like, I know I've kind of beat this nail real
with
hard
a dead horse.
with my dead horse. Thanks for helping me mix my metaphors, Alex.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
But yeah, and like Jacqui has said, like, I think that's the big one, right? Is like, just make a character study about people who go to writers' conferences and then like sprinkle in that good like it's weird being a teenager stuff from Napoleon Dynamite, and you've like got a good like pseudo sequel to Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, and I feel like Napoleon Dynamite had so much more nostalgia, where people would watch it and they would just, you know, they would enjoy it just because it brought us back to the, you know, early 90s.
That's just because Napoleon Dynamite was so different when it came out from everything else that was out there. It was so weird and offbeat.
Yeah.
I think that's just why
Perfect.
it resonates with us
Flawless.
still. It's just how...
But I think this could have been that, I guess. I felt like it, and it just...
I agree. Like, even coming off of Napoleon Dynamite's heels, I think that I agree with Jacqui. I think that they could have made a movie that was still like really cool and different and offbeat. But here are my things. The budget was too high. Napoleon's budget was like, what, $48? The budget was too high.
Have any of you seen Masterminds, which was the last movie?
No, not yet. Which is a bummer because the love of my life is in that. Kate McKinnon, who is the greatest actress of all time. Continue.
I don't know a budget number for Masterminds, but Masterminds is good, and I think it had a big budget. So he can make a good movie with a big budget, but also like I think I still agree with you, Jency, that like maybe if he cut down the budget on this, he would have had a better character study.
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have been trying so hard to do. It was just trying too hard, I think. So maybe if he was living within his, like having to really limit himself, he could have let his creative juices flow. I don't know.
They didn't trust themselves. It kind of felt like the movie was constantly like, I'm not being funny enough. I have to try harder to be funny, and it didn't work. I think a better approach to the science fiction story would have been good too. It was totally fine to make it like a parody thing. Like, I did like that Yeast Lords was like terrible.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't like that it was gross. I think it should have been something else. Just like, I do like this idea though of it being like a terrible science fiction story that everyone around him is like, this is good. This is amazing.
And honestly, if Yeast Lords was the grossest thing in the movie, it wasn't even that gross. It wasn't the hand massage, vomit kiss gross. So we could leave that in.
Or the skin pouch. Which is gonna haunt my dreams.
Or the skin pouch.
The skin pouch was the worst thing in the world.
Oh, I can't unsee that.
Oh my god.
I actually did think it was funny when Sam Rockwell just like nibbled on that little like weird like mushroom cookie thing, and he was like, oh, that's a good yeast.
That was funny.
And then he just starts like jumping around. That's not bad. That's not a bad yeast. Like, that was pretty funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and see, so he like, and I guess that's, you know, we know what he can be capable of, which makes it harder to watch a bad movie, because you're like, oh, that moment was hilarious, and I know, you know, what a hilarious movie you can make. So, yeah, and I just, you know, how did that get through, you know, edits without a little more love?
I may have like, instead of dude being a film writer, making or film director, making him more of an author, to combat with him in that vein. But I still did like those two characters, even if they were a bit off. But yeah, that's really the only thing I'd do apart from take out all the gross out stuff.
I really liked his relationship with his mom. I would love to have seen more of that. Even though I feel like we did get a good amount of it. It just, I don't know. That was a fun part of the movie.
I think it was too even. Like if he had maybe in the middle of a falling out or an argument with his mom or something, it was just like there was no, it wasn't touching because nothing had happened before that.
You're right, because there was that part where he stole that gown And then she was like, well, we can't afford that. That's $100 we don't have. He didn't even confess or anything.
The popcorn stuff had me rolling.
Oh, yeah.
God, her popcorn. When she was trying to stuff the popcorn car through the prison bars. So funny. She was just like going, and then she was like, I'll just give it to you later after it's completely ruined.
They're, like, sitting at the coffee table and they have this popcorn statue. It's just like chiseling off the corner of it.
Chiseling it. Yeah, you're right. That was funny.
What do they call it? Country balls?
Yeah.
Country balls.
And he was like, I am not selling these 2 in a bag.
Well, and like you have that.
Two in a bag, country balls.
It's such low-hanging fruit, too. Like, he could have been super frustrated that his mom keeps feeding him popcorn or something. And he just, like, had, they could have given him something.
I didn't really get... I put out some feelers for, like, audience retcons. I didn't really get much of anything usable just because, like, no one has seen this movie. So thank goodness we're doing a podcast episode about it. But I've really learned something in the past year of doing this podcast. And, like, what I got back from putting my feelers out, like, really reinforces is that there is no movie in the world that somebody doesn't love.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, basically all the stuff I got back was I've seen that movie and I love it.
Oh,
for this.
Oh, well. Okay.
Hi.
Well, now I feel like
they were able. I don't remember exactly what they said, but they were able to quote. They had their favorite quotes ready.
Nice
from that movie. I didn't write anyone's name down, but like, hey, if you're out there and you like responded, like, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your love for this movie.
Now I don't feel so bad.
We want to thank a couple people for tweeting about the show. Kim from Chaotic Goodness Podcast is almost as always, like every 2 weeks, every day almost. Kim from Chaotic Goodness Podcast, thank you. Willie from the Grand Rapidians Play Video Games Podcast, thank you, Willie.
You done us proud, boy.
Yeah, man, guys, I just feel like it's a lot of times it's the same people on this list. But I know there's more of you out there. I see you people in Michigan and New Jersey and Australia and everyone else listening. And
Australia's having some problems right now, but you got to give them a break.
I guess so.
Yeah, they got too much stuff to deal with. They can't be tweeting at us.
But I'd love to hear from you. If you're
I would especially
right
love to hear from the Australia people. How did you guys find us? We love you. Talk to us.
Also, the like one listener in Ontario. I'd love to hear from you, one listener in Ontario.
Are they a frequent listener?
It is hard for me to tell, which is probably good because that would be a level of privacy invasion that would not not be okay.
Right. Yeah.
But we got Twitter, we got Facebook, we got Instagram. Like, please try to hit us up on one of those.
And talk to us to your friends about us.
Yeah.
And
or get off social media forever, because that's probably better for you. But please, like Alex said, please tell your friends about this podcast. It's really the only way we grow.
We grow in the love that we share for each other.
I mean, we're old folks. Our bones are done. We can't grow no more.
We've also got a Discord where Alex just says stuff like that every day.
I wish I
every
did.
day.
I wish I said more things like that.
And we'll post a link to that Discord in the show notes. I've also got a Patreon. Jency, you never talk about the Patreon. Jency, tell us about the Patreon.
Last time I talked about the Patreon, I got fussed at a little bit because I'd said something about, if you love us, you'll give us money. And anyway, we have a Patreon, and it is how you all keep us going and show your support for us. All of the things, the monies that we get from our Patreon, it lets us pay for our indie artists that we feature on the show, our musical artists that we feature on the show, who we really appreciate, and we want to give them money. It also helps us pay for our art that we commission from local artists and artist friends, and we really appreciate them, and we want to give them money. And it also lets us pay for really nice production stuff, like this really fancy mic that Ben got me for Christmas because my other mic was so terrible. So, yeah, it helps the podcast get better, and it also helps us share the love. So if you become a Patreon member, we appreciate that. The lowest dollar number is $1, right? $1 a month.
That'd be the lowest dollar.
$1 a month. $1 a month, and you can get to be a member of our secret fancy Discord room, which only our Patreons get to be a member of, and that's really fun to get to talk to us and hear the fun things that Alex says every day.
We're talking about the juicy stuff, like oranges.
No, oranges are very juicy. Yeah. But then, yeah, you could get stickers. If you give us enough money.
That is the $7 a month, I believe.
That's the $7 a month. Yeah, and with the stickers, Alex sends out pictures and personalized notes because
I'm cool like that. I got to contribute to this podcast somehow.
So we really love our listeners and appreciate them, and we love talking to them and getting to know them. And yeah, so if you want to be a Patreon, that would help us out.
Do you want to read one of the top tier?
Yeah, Alex, do you want to go and read that one?
Well, the one that it's from Nick is specifically for you to read.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm about to I'm about to send it to you.
Be a little more enthusiastic.
Yeah. Now, there was a note that you need to read this in your most dramatic voice.
Okay. All right.
Try not to read ahead. I'm sure it'll be spoiled for you in the first sign, but I'm going to send that now.
Baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink. I'm T-Pain. You know me. I know the club closes at 3. What's the chances that you are rolling with me? Back to the crib. Show you how I live. Let's get drunk. Forget what we did.
And there we
I can't believe I got through that without laughing.
That's from my little brother, Nick. He will enjoy that immensely, I'm sure.
Nice. Let's get drunk and forget what we did.
This one is from my brother, Ben. Ben writes, "Today is my last day after over 7 years working with some of the smartest, kindest people I've ever known. You all have changed my life in ways you never knew. Leaving you is bittersweet, but I'll never forget the friendships I've made. Thank you all, and I wish you the best in your future endeavors." He's a sweet child, man. Mm-hmm.
We do actually have people that aren't Alex's brothers.
Yeah.
That do this tier, but they never send their stuff in.
Yeah, Alex's brothers are not our only patrons. They're the ones who send their stuff in.
Thank you again, Jacqui. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank you. Yes, we so enjoyed having you. Yay.
Once again, that book is The Seclusion. I think you can get that. I know you can get it on Amazon. Anywhere else they can get it?
Yeah, it's pretty widespread. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. It might even be in your library system. It's got pretty widespread distribution at libraries. I always like to plug IndieBound, which is a website where you can just go on there, plug in your zip code, and they will order it to your local bookstore. So that is always great to do. And you can find me on Twitter mostly, but follow with caution. I rant about politics a lot at Jacqui Castle Writes. And and also check out our podcast, which is just the Writing Block podcast. No K. Thanks again.
Okay. So the next one is going to be our next series. Do we tell them about our next series now?
I don't know. Do you think we should?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. It's me, John Leguizamo.
Yes! Super Mario Brothers movie!
That's right. We're going to do the Super Mario Brothers movie.
You all have asked for it. We have asked for it. We're excited about it.
I'm conflicted about it because, again, love that movie. Absolutely nothing wrong with it.
It's Alex's favorite movie of all time.
You're all haters.
I like it, but I'm not going to say there's nothing wrong with it. We all have opportunities to grow.
I'm sure it'll be fine in Benjamin's hands.
Yeah, Ben's going to be the one to GM it.
I'm the director.
Aha.
Ooh.
Oh, is that what we're calling ourselves?
I think we should.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. Ben is the next director.
And we get to be the talent